What's up? What's up? Welcome to the cast for April 26th, 2021. It is Monday. Monday suck. I'm recovering from a mild hangover. How was Dragon Ass Day at work? Unimportant. Unimportant. Anyway, there's a decent amount to get to. A lot of news was dropped after I did the last one, and I just had a busy weekend, and just didn't have the time to get to it till now, or the energy, I guess, to get to it till now. So here we are. And let me see. There's a lot of shit to get to. Um, there's some stuff I'll cover that was almost a week ago, but we'll get to it and touch base with it and stuff. But the first thing I want to get to is a game that I wasn't really that big on coming out. Um, when I first saw it and started reading about it and saw who was making it and everything, considering what they had made before, I was like, well, we'll see. I mean, I'm not that keen on it. I wasn't big on it. And it comes out Friday, and since from everything I've seen since my first initial thoughts, and seeing the new videos, hearing early previews of people that have been able to play it early, um, I reserved and pre-ordered Returnal. I have completely flipped on that. Um, it looks incredible. It just looks amazing. And I cannot wait until Friday. I've already got it preloaded onto the system, and the countdown is there, reminding me like, oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait until Thursday night, Friday morning to get on this motherfucker because it looks great. The story looks intriguing, that Edge of Tomorrow type of thing, and like I've always kind of likened it a lot to Edge of Tomorrow just because of the whole death and loop thing. But then also like the enemies, at least some of them look like very similar to the enemies in Edge of Tomorrow. Not in so much the way that they attack because it's all very bullet hell-y in 3D style instead of the way that those things worked, but in the movie. But there's an enemy in there that looked very similar, and it just reminds me of that, just darker. And it's an odd comparison to make. The movie was pretty damn good, but just that whole loop thing and figuring out what the hell's going on and that sort of thing is so intriguing. Um, it's part of like and this whole type of gameplay is really starting to catch on. It was something that I wasn't really that big on at first. The whole roguelike aspect where you're gonna die and you're probably gonna die a lot, and each death is more about a learning experience and just getting farther each run than it is just fuck, I keep dying. You know what I mean? And you have to go into these games with a different mindset, like a Souls, like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, um, Elden Ring is gonna be like that. And then you got other games like fuck, what is that game? Hades, which please bring the PlayStation. It has so many damn awards, and I'd love to see it over here. Um, and I'd like to quit hating it out of spite, hating on it out of spite, and saying like, it's not really that good just because it's on Switch and it ain't on here. So, uh, you know. But anyway, Returnal looks it looks amazing, and from what I've seen and what I've heard, people that don't really enjoy those kinds of games are still wanting to continue and go back and keep playing, because it is just so good. So I can't wait, and it's gonna run 4K 60 with the ray tracing. Oh, this game is gonna be gorgeous. Oh, it's gonna be so fucking gorgeous. So I cannot wait for that. And we'll go jump around from late to early news. But this is pretty recent. Speaking of gorgeous, the Rift Apart released a new trailer today, and god damn, dude. I mean, you cannot tell between the cutscenes and the gameplay. Like you can't at all. Matter of fact, if I'm being honest, looking at what the cutscenes look like compared to what the gameplay looks like, the gameplay looks better just because there's more going on and it's there's more shit to look at and it all looks incredible. Whereas the cutscenes are very, this is a scene, this is a movie, he's just sitting in a chair, he's just, up here, they're just talking, it's not like there's not a bunch of bullets going everywhere and lighting effects and all that. They're just cutscenes. So that's part of it. But honestly, like the gameplay looks better than the cutscenes from what I've seen. I mean, it looks amazing, incredible, and I imagine that it's probably running 4K 60. Um, I would imagine, but I mean, just do yourself a favor and go look at the new Ratchet gameplay trailer. Um, I know some people might be turned off because it looks very Pixar-y, very kid-like, very kiddie shit, and that is not me. I can't stand Disney movies. I don't like musicals. I hate kids movies. I hate kid games. Like it's not my shit. And I've always loved Ratchet because it's the gameplay is incredible. It's fun. The story is, while, accessible to kids, it's not prohibitively, for kids. So, it's not, some Disney shit. So, I can't wait for that game as well. Sony is really could use some good publicity, and we'll get to some good publicity. In a minute here, and it's weird how there's ebbs and flows in this whole uh, war, because that's what it is. It's a console war, and there is weird ebbs and flows, and it's not even so much a war of what's happening. It's more of a war of buzz and what's in the news and shit. I mean, yes, Microsoft bought Bethesda, but we're not going to see the fruits of that for years. Um, yeah, they're gonna get some legacy titles and stuff on Xbox Game Pass day one. But it's not like they're bringing fucking. Um, it's not like they got the next Fallout and it's gonna be exclusive to Xbox and it's coming day one on Game Pass. Like it's not. We're not seeing that. Same thing with a lot of the other studios they got, like Hellblade 2. That's still. We don't know when that's coming. The only game that I think Xbox has had that's exclusive is the Medium, and from what I've seen, it's not all that much to speak about. Um, PlayStation has had their own flubs. I mean, Demon Souls is great, Miles is great, but that's also on PS4. It's not a PS5 exclusive. But then, Destruction All Stars was just, it's a shame because I was really like looking forward to that. And I was kind of excited for that game. I was hyped for like a new Rocket League, but more realistic, I guess, or more based upon really wrecking each other as opposed to just scoring a goal, if you will, that sort of thing. I was really looking forward to it, and then it just was very content bare, and I like the idea of it, but it always should have been a free to play game, and the whole single player stuff being locked behind paywalls is not cool. So that was a super bust, which is unfortunate because there's potential there, but it's not what it should have been. But yeah, so I mean, each system is going to have ups and downs and good and bad exclusive releases, whether it's first or second party. So you know, uh, but I can't wait for Ratchet and Returnal. Both of them look amazing. So let's see what else we got here. There's a report Speaking of this, and this is going to be like a big deal going into these next year, maybe even like I really thought that it wouldn't be that big of a deal by maybe this time or even earlier than this time next year, but it sounds like it might be a problem for a little while. Um, and that is these cross-gen games where they're making people are having to make the game for both systems, last gen and current gen, and that's a problem because it holds back games. You could see the difference in between games that are made for both systems and games that are made strictly for the system for this current gen, because I'm not calling it next gen anymore, current gen, because we're here, it's here. So this is next gen crap. No, it's current, and what you're working with, if you're working with an old system, is last gen. It is not current gen. It is last, and it sucks that there's not enough systems for everybody that wants one to get one, but it also sucks for the people that have the system and see not much value in having the new system because there's nothing for it yet. There's not very much for it that you can't play on the older system. So I'm getting kind of tired of the whole latching on to the last gen. Like we need to let it die, let it go. It can still exist, but it's time to move on. Like we're here. So anyway, Call of Duty, uh, Vanguard, their next, that's just, I guess, their code name for their next game. I don't know if that's what it's going to be called. Anyway, report says, this is from PlayStation Lifestyle, that Call of Duty World War II Vanguard will be held back so bad by last gen consoles. Call of Duty 2022 will also be cross gen. So you can expect to see the same old shit from the most popular title, shooter title, on any system, uh, to not do anything different, which isn't a surprise anyway. It is Call of Duty. So they're not changing at all for another 2 years because of cross-gen bullshit. Let's see. A new report from well-known Call of Duty insider Tom Henderson says that Call of Duty 2021, reportedly Call of Duty World War II Vanguard, will be held back so bad by last-gen consoles. Additionally, Henderson claims that Infinity Ward's next Call of Duty 2022 game, rumored to be a sequel to 2019's Modern Warfare, will also come to PS4 and Xbox One, presumably facing the same challenges of being held back by the last gen platforms. Let's see. They go on to say every console cycle there is a period of overlap for a few years where games will release for both previous and new consoles. This is partially caused by developers learning the new tech, but also in large part is profit-driven move. There's 100 million PlayStation 3s in circulation. There's like I think there's only like 6 to 10 million PS5s in circulation. So yes, from that that makes sense. Makes sense. Um, they go on to say longer install base, blah 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 blah. Catch up as new hardware, consumers shift over to new hardware, blah 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 blah. Okay, well you get the picture. So we're also waiting for the next gen native version of Warzone. That'd be great to see. I know that team. It's been widely reported that they have to massively increase their company size because I mean that game's huge and it's only getting bigger and more popular and um, they also help make the other Call of Duty games. So this is all additional on top of what they already have on their plate. So they've had to expand and you would hope that a lot of that expansion is going towards making a native port for the next gen, for excuse me, for current gen. Really have to quit doing that. But as you can see, this is going to be a problem. Now, games like Rift Apart and Returnal are made exclusively for the current gen. So they're not going to be held back, and you're going to see that. I mean, go look at Rift Apart. Go look at that video as I tell you to do it again, because it is astounding how incredible it looks. I mean, it really does look um, amazing. It's just we are getting to that point where um, you can't see the difference. We're getting to that point where you can't tell the difference between gameplay and the video and cutscenes. So, but then other games are working around this in different ways. You have Resident Evil 8, which odd report came out that it's gonna run on the PlayStation 4. It's gonna run at like 900p or something, and at like 45 frames a second, which is really fucking weird. Like, that's really weird. But that's also because they've had to downgrade it, because they said specifically that they were making that for current gen consoles, and that they would um, make it so that it would run on the old consoles. So they did it the opposite way, to whereas a lot of studios like Call of Duty and Activision, because they're lazy, they made it for the current gen. So and then they'd scale it back for the old consoles. They did it the opposite way. And hopefully we'll see more of that than the latter, where, they just keep making it on based on the old system. It's like if you build a car and you want to build a truck, but you're using a car frame to do it. Like, that's what they're doing basically with these games, is they want to make a truck, but they're using a car frame. So they can't do everything that a real truck can do with a truck frame, because the frame is too weak. So that's basically the same thing that's going on. Odd analogy, I know, but you get it, right? So hopefully we won't see too much of that. I hope. So we'll see. This one, also PlayStation Lifestyle, says that Polyphony Digital boss wants to continue making Gran Turismo, but also wants to do something different. As a Gran Turismo, like, some people, have you ever seen what's that movie? Sorry about that. My bad. What the hell is that movie? With Brad Pitt, the baseball movie. That's gonna kill me now if I can't think of that. Moneyball. That's it, right? I think that's it. Moneyball. Moneyball. Is that correct? Moneyball. Brad Pitt. Yeah. Anyway, there's a line that he says towards the end of the movie. And as a kid that played baseball in my youth, and as a kid that loved the movie The Sandlot, adored that movie. He says, "How could you not be romantic about baseball?" And if you ever played the show, particularly 16 or 17, you will just the opening video. Even if you never played them, go look up the opening video of MLB The Show 17. And it's just, that is the romantic thing about baseball. It's the romanticizing. They play the old calls, and it's a beautiful, beautiful video, a tribute to, like, baseball. I gotta tell you, this mic randomly shutting off really pisses me off. Anyway, uh, that that opening video is just it's a it's a tribute to baseball and its history. It's really really good. And if you have paid attention, if you care about sports, if you like baseball and follow the history, um, you'll watch those videos and you know you get like a little feeling in you. You get a little, it touches you in a certain way, and like I feel that way about racing as well. So Gran Turismo is very, very, very near and dear to me. And so I don't know what I would hope that that wouldn't take away from Gran Turismo, because I mean Polyphony Digital has earned just like many others as far as like Media Molecule and In Dreams and Naughty Dog, and who's another Respawn, um, Kojima. Like there's people that you just they've earned the right to make whatever the fuck they want, however they want, because of their track record, the amazing job that they've done over the years. It shows that they're very good at what they do, and there's no reason to assume that they wouldn't be capable of making a non-racing game, or even just a different style of racing game, or something, that it wouldn't be high quality. So anyway, this article says Polyphony Digital president Kazunori Yamauchi has said that he plans to continue making Gran Turismo video games for the foreseeable future, but also wants to do something quote unquote different. Yamauchi said this during an interview with KPMG via GT Planet, but didn't elaborate on what he has in mind. However, he added that he wants to create a world that feels more real than the real world, whether or not this is through Gran Turismo. Oh, wait. Quote unquote, whether this is through Gran Turismo or not. Same difference. And then goes on to quote him. I intend to continue Gran Turismo going forward, which we will be in the same boat as the car culture and automobile industry. And at the same time, I would like to also do something different. I think that one of the missions of video games is to realize digital twins by connecting the real and digital worlds. On the other hand, I also think that the reality that can be felt by humans may not necessarily be felt from something real, and I intend to confront this question for sure. I would like to take on the challenge of creating a world where people feel more reality than the real thing, whether this is through Gran Turismo or not. That's it's pretty fucking interesting, actually. I really wonder what he has in mind. Um, Elsewhere in the interview, Yamauchi opined that technology can be used to make people happy, and he hopes that's what the future holds. Quote, I would like to be happy, or I would be happy if we could offer the experience which we learned from nature when we were children, such as breathlessly observing what is occurring before our eyes and making a hypothesis, understanding and acting based on this observation. Through video games, he continued, I believe that this is my mission. Huh. It's very interesting. Um, I'd really be curious as to what that might be. Um, when people look at games in that way, something special happens. We see it particularly in games like Gran Turismo, or excuse me, well, with Gran Turismo, but but more subtle, but these subtle things mean the world to these games in like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead. One thing that Grand Theft Auto was known for in the past was this wacky, almost wacky, but not quite, um, exaggeration of life in the world and that sort of thing. And to an extent, it still is as far as like the advertising and some of the story and that sort of thing. But what they do so well, and it started with Gran Turismo 4, or I'm sorry, Grand Theft Auto 4, was they said, and I remember reading this from so long ago. I don't know where or when, but they were saying during the making of the game that one of the things that they thought about during the whole process was, is this what would happen in real life? If this happened in real life, what would happen? Um, and you saw that the way people, the NPCs reacted, the way steps were, just the what did they call it? I think they called it the, what did they call their like, I forget what the hell they called their physics engine that they used. But that had a lot to do with it, where you know, uh, their feet would actually step on to the sidewalk, and if they were tripping or drunk, they would trip over, the sidewalk. They wouldn't just their leg just wouldn't clip onto the ledge. Like there's so many things where if you hit a park bench and a piece of the wood went flying, and then hit somebody, it wouldn't just like clip through them, or it wouldn't just instantly kill them. Like it depended on how fast it was moving. Like the person would get knocked over or whatever. Like it was all very, if this actually happened in real life, what would happen? You also see this in Red Dead, where the AI is incredibly intelligent, to where the guy is supposed to dump a body in a river, and he dumps it, but he doesn't get it in the river. And most of the time, like, dude would just walk away, and that would be the end, and blah, blah, blah. Whereas, no, he actually picks the body back up and then throws it in again, and then makes sure it's in the river, and then walks away. There's And it's not just the AI either. It's like there'll be a guy rowing down the river, which I noticed this in a not the most recent, but a recent-ish, the second most recent Red Dead podcast that me and Churchman did, where there's a guy rowing down the river, and he's just in a single boat rowing, and then I sniped him, and he didn't keep going on like a track, like a predetermined track. Like he stopped, and not only did he stop, but then the actual current of the river started carrying him downstream in the opposite direction. And my jaw dropped, because that's not most of the time, like you see, a guy going down a river or whatever in a game, he's on a track. And the game doesn't even realize, if you kill a dude, that he shouldn't continue moving that way. And then, let alone that, the game doesn't really recognize what the current of the area is and what resistance and water resistance is. Like there's so many different things that game does so well, and it's because they're trying to mimic real life as best as possible. And when you see a guy from a creator that has created the likes of the most realistic racing simulation that you can probably get. I mean, I know Project Cars, the first Project Cars and the second one were pretty damn good. Unfortunately, they never figured out how to make it feel right as far as driving on a console, unless you had a stick, a driving wheel. And I don't have a desk to like put one of those on. Not to mention they're like fucking I don't know, probably a good one is probably $300-400 now, and that's a lot. So, um, but anyway, I just, I know that they were really good physics-based games. Um, I know that the third one isn't. But anyway, it probably, Gran Turismo is probably the best simulator. And to hear a guy, who makes the best racing simulator, say something like that, to where he wants to create something that's in between, that ties the real and not real, and more real, what's more real, and what is reality, and if you experience it and it's real to you, does that really not make it real just because it was in a game? Like, it's just really interesting, and I hope whatever he has a vision for gets to come to fruition. I really hope that he gets to make whatever he's talking about or whatever he has in mind, because that's really intriguing. So, um, who knows if that'll ever come to be? But we'll see. Let's see what else we got. Apex. Apex has a new mode, an arena mode, a la Counter Strike, and many other games. I can't think of many that come to mind, because honestly, this type of system doesn't speak to me that much. But it does sound like it's gonna get certain restrictions that won't make it to the point. It'll mitigate some of the things that make me not like this style of game, where at the beginning of your round you have a chance to buy stuff that you can use in the next round, and that's all based upon your previous round's performance and that sort of thing. And it just, I don't know, I feel like that can be really good for like good people and really bad for bad people, because at the end of the day, if you aren't that good, you're not going to get very good equipment. You're just not. And if you are good, you're going to get all the good shit. So it makes the divide between good player and bad player like that much more wide. And I feel like that's really exclusive to people, and very off-putting to a lot of people. So we'll see how it goes. I'm interested to try it. It's a 3 versus 3 arena type, so it might be really fun. Titanfall was pretty fun online. The Titans, I mean, the Titans to me were a gimmick. When I played Titanfall, it was more about the gunplay and the wall running and that sort of thing. The Titans are cool, but it's just a gimmick, and it's very unbalancing to the game. Like, it just makes the game very unbalanced. So um, it'll be nice to see Apex gameplay in a more traditional um, competitive multiplayer setting. Um, but again, the whole buying your certain shit before each round is just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I haven't tried it. We'll give it a try and see what it's like, and maybe it'll catch on really big, and it'll be the next thing that propels Apex to even higher levels. So we'll see. Um, the PlayStation Plus thing that happened in Poland is actually real, apparently. Um, they're doing a trial version in Poland to see what it's all about, see how it works. They're trying it for a year, so good for people in Poland that they get this free shit for a year. That's cool. I, I don't know that. First of all, I'm kind of surprised that this is the first time that Sony has ever tried to do this, considering that like it's something that they just have in their pocket. So why wouldn't you make your PlayStation Plus offering more valuable to customers by um by by bundling in some of your entertainment content, whether it's movie or TV show. Um, it just makes sense that they would offer something like that to just increase the value, and not only that, but also to promote the movies that they make. I mean, um, different avenues for advertising has been really lucrative. Excuse me, for in a lot of different ways. I mean, you know, some of the biggest sales numbers for The Witcher 3 came when they released the show on Netflix and shit. So, this whole idea of like cross um, promotion and using one thing to promote another and profiting that way, like I'm kind of surprised that this is the first time that Sony's actually implemented something like that with their considering that they have their own movies and TV shows that they own because they made them. So, um, I again with like streaming options and everything else, I don't know that this is going to be a huge, draw for anybody really. But I do think that it is an increased value to PlayStation Plus and to being a PlayStation Plus member. So, um, uh, as long as they're not trying to like add that in and then use that as a reason to increase the price of PlayStation Plus, um, I'm cool with it. Otherwise, I'd rather just say, why don't you just keep it the same price and you can keep your movies? Um, but we'll see. I mean, I would imagine that the price for PS Plus subscription is probably going to go up eventually anyway. Um, and that would be reasonable. I mean, there hasn't been a price hike in a while, and the last price hike was only like $10, I think. So I mean, I wouldn't be really disappointed if they chose to charge 70 or $80 instead of 60. I mean, if you really think about it, fucking $5 a month for the ability to play anything online, and not only that, but then get. I mean, let's just take one of the recent months for example. We got Control, um, game of the year contender easily. And so like and plus you had two other games. If you have PS5, you got Control and two other games. So I mean, it is a hell of a value, and it pays for itself in 1 month. So even if they raised it to 80, it would still probably pay for itself in a month. So or two. Oh my God. So I mean, uh, I could see that happening. But we'll see what this video stuff is. I don't know. I mean, it is going to be for a year trial there, so um, even if it is something that they're going to implement, we won't know until probably like next summer once they overlook, all the data that they've gathered throughout the year and that sort of thing to see if it's something that's profitable or could be profitable or useful or whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. They'll know by next summer whether or not adding their movie selection and some of their TV selection um, to the PlayStation Plus subscription is doing whatever it is they want it to do. And they're probably going to do that to see how much, um, yeah, I guess, subscriptions increase throughout the year. Um, Maybe that's the info that they're going to get. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. And other news here. Sony is apparently making some sort of cloud strategy, and they're working with Microsoft. It's I'm really curious as to how that is all going to really work out because I can't imagine that Microsoft is going to give Sony the um the secret sauce. You know what I mean? Like they're going to save that for themselves. So and I just it's hard to it's hard to I just I don't even know what the fuck I was just saying. This is what happens when you try to look over articles as you're talking, that you get distracted by the article itself. Um, yeah, I don't know about this whole cloud strategy. This article, PlayStation Lifestyle, says there have been recent reports that Sony is working on a counterpunch to Microsoft's Game Pass, something more than the current PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now subscription services, but a new quote from PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan could indicate that Microsoft will actually play a part in Sony's own unique, quote, unique and only on PlayStation, unquote, cloud solution. An announcement for this cloud strategy will come, quote, when the time is right. Though Sony was once one of the first big players on the cloud gaming field back with its 2012 purchase of Gaikai and the formation of PS Now, Microsoft's Game Pass has dominated this conversation in recent years. Back in 2019, however, Sony announced a strategic partnership with Microsoft to utilize some of its cloud assets. So, in an interview with Nikkei, which is, I believe, a Japanese, I believe it's like a Japanese, like, um, electronic or entertainment or business kind of tech website, magazine, news outlet, I guess. I don't really know for sure. Mm. But it was all in Japanese, I believe. So its translation is courtesy of VGC, Video Game Chronicle. Great website. It's probably one of the best websites right now for news, game news of all kinds. Um, let's see. The translation courtesy of VGC. Ryan talked about the Microsoft Cloud partnership and Sony's own cloud strategy beyond its current offering. Let me see here. Sony acquired cloud gaming Gaikai in 2012 before using its technology and intellectual property to launch PlayStation Now, which provides subscribers with unlimited access to a library of some 700 PS4, PS3, and PS2 games. And this is the article from VGC that I'm reading now. Uh, Speaking to Nikkei about the deal with Microsoft, which this week started inviting Xbox Game Ultimate Pass members to a cloud gaming beta for Windows 10 and PC and Apple's devices. PlayStation boss Ryan said Sony was not ready to reveal its cloud strategy for PS5, but suggested it was devising a unique offering. Quote, we are still having conversations with Microsoft about exchanging ideas, he said. Quote, we are still talking to them about exchanging ideas, and there's some very interesting stuff. So when the time is right, we'll announce our cloud strategy. We could conceivably use the cloud for our technical infrastructure, but the cloud gaming experience we're offering will be unique and only on PlayStation. Later in the interview, Ryan was asked if the cloud could disrupt the traditional hardware cycle, which has seen a new PlayStation console launch every 6 to 7 years. He says, it is hard to answer that question right now, but history shows that sales peak in the third or fourth year. At the end of the cycle, the cloud may play some role. I'm more optimistic about the future than I was a year ago. Ryan also suggested it was too early to know if an increased focus on cloud gaming could mean PS5 will be the last console from Sony. Quote, we have just released the PS5, so at this point, it's time to learn how people are enjoying it, and then we'll take the time to think about the future of PlayStation, he said. In September of 2018, Sony introduced the ability for PS Now users to download PS4 games, contributing to higher users, blah, 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 blah. Let me see. Elsewhere in the interview, Ryan said Sony has been quietly but steadily investing in the creation of first-party software, and that PS5 will be home to more exclusives than any previous PlayStation console. Having announced in February that it is working on a next-generation VR system for PS5, Ryan also touched upon the company's plans in this space. The next-generation VR system represents a very strategic opportunity for PlayStation. We've launched PlayStation VR in 2016 and have had time to understand the VR experience over the years, and what we learned from VR is that the potential market is huge. We want to continue to deliver high-quality gaming experiences to keep the community entertained. I can understand the VR aspect of it because while not that many people actually play VR, the ones that do buy a lot of VR games. Um, so I can understand that, and even still, with the small amount of VRs that are out there for PlayStation, they're still the biggest install base of VRs total. Like there are more PSVRs than Oculus, than Hive, than or Vive or whatever the fuck the HTC is, and all the other ones. Like PlayStation has the biggest install base, so um, it does seem niche, and it is kind of niche, but I think that that will change, especially with the new VR only having one cord and the new sticks that look great. They actually look like proper VR sticks instead of just these fucking wands with a lighted dot at the end of them. So I could see that. I could see that playing a big role going forward. Um, Also, along that quietly investing part of what Sony said, what Jim Ryan said. This also is part of VGC article and also part of that Nikkei article. He said that they've been quietly investing in the creation of first-party software and that it could pursue further M&A opportunities to bolster its in-house development capabilities. Basically saying that they could possibly pursue more like purchasing of places like they did Insomniac recently. So it says, quote, we have been quietly but steadily investing in high quality games for PlayStation, and we will make sure that the PS5 generation will have more dedicated software than ever before. We have repeatedly engaged in mergers and acquisitions, including Insomniac Games in the US. We will not rule out that option in the future. In terms of upcoming exclusives, SIE is currently gearing up to release Housemarque's Returnal on April 30th and Insomniac's Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart in early June. Guerrilla's the Horizon Forbidden West is slated for release in late 2021. We'll see. And Ragnarok was also released last September was teased last September for release on PS5 this year. That's not happening. I have very, very little faith in that happening. Gran Turismo recently was delayed to 2022 due to complications of COVID-related production challenges. Naughty Dog is also remaking The Last of Us. Yay. PlayStation recently closed its oldest first-party developer, Japan Studio, but Ryan told Nikkei the company remains committed to the Japanese market. He said, quote, "It is important for us to provide software that fits the Japanese gaming community, and PS5 has included a lot of software from Japanese developers since its early stages. We will continue to strengthen our ties with Japanese developers and release content for PS5." God damn it. Fucking mic turning off. "We will continue to strengthen our ties with Japanese developers and release content for PS5 that fits the Japanese market." Ryan also commented on the current supply of PlayStation 5 consoles in the market and claimed that Sony had asked manufacturers to increase production. Quote, "There are several reasons why PS5 was hard to come by," he said. "Supply under the new coronavirus was very complicated and we had to limit distribution online. The supply and demand for semiconductors is also tight worldwide. We are asking our suppliers to allow us to increase production, which will flow into the market this year." As well as heavily investing in PS5 exclusives, Ryan said Sony was planning to bring a whole slate of games to PC. Following Horizon Zero Dawn's Complete Edition release in August of 2020, Days Gone will be released on PC May 18th. So we will see what their plans are. They also have a mobile division that they just, talked about and announced. So there's a lot going on. And speaking of one of these places that Sony has been investing in, this one has really got me excited. The Dabes of Talent, the idea that Sony has needed a first party shooter for a long time. It's something that's been missing since Killzone basically. Killzone wasn't exactly the greatest. I loved Killzone 2. I never really got to play Shadowfall or 3 very much. But it's been something that's been missing from the first party slate. And this new announcement seems to change that. This is from the PlayStation blog. Excuse me. Oh, I'm gonna be coughing for a minute. God damn. All right. From the PlayStation blog. This is from April 22nd, so this is from a few days ago. But PlayStation and Firewalk Studios announced publishing partnership for a new original multiplayer IP. Firewalk's AAA team sets its sights on creating memorable multiplayer moments for its players. This is written by Tony HSU. So I would say that Hisu or Su or Hisu. I don't know how to properly say that. I'm sorry. This is written by him on a PlayStation blog. He's the studio head of Fireworks Studios. And it goes on to say, "There's a moment that happens almost every day in our multiplayer playtests, where someone jolts out of their seat, laughs, and says to no one in particular, 'Did you just see that happen?' These amazing and unpredictable moments in gaming are the sparks that occur when playing with others. Future memories ready to be replayed and retold. We started Firewalk Studios in 2018 with this kind of spark at the heart of our games. It's why I used to stay up until 2 a.m. playing Phantasy Star Online night after night with the same group from Server 9, or how the neighbors who showed up at my NYC apartment to complain about the noise ended up jamming with us in Rock Band instead. For others on our team, it was spending nights with their crew searching and finding the perfect last armor set piece in Diablo 2, making the online qualifiers in competitive Halo tournaments, or skipping studying for a math final to play in a Left 4 Dead 2 LAN party. As next generation AAA studio and a part of the Probably Monsters family, we've carefully assembled an amazing and diverse team of best-in-class talent who are focused on creating these moments. Everyone here brings a deep passion for games and the art of making them. We have a saying at Firewalk: build a great team, build a great game. One leads directly to the other. The Probably Monsters world-class operations team and infrastructure has allowed us to focus on doing both better, fostering a sustainable development culture where people come first and delivering great games. Our collective leadership team is no stranger to bringing memorable multiplayer experiences. Ryan Ellis, our game director, was a creative director on Destiny. Elena Sigmund, our executive producer, was a producer on Guitar Hero 2, BioShock Infinite, and multiple Destiny releases. Our deeply talented team has helped bring the life of franchises like Mass Effect and oh, excuse me. Our deeply talented team has helped bring to life franchises like Mass Effect and Apex Legends. Combined with my own experience and thousands of hours of playing on Call of Duty and Destiny, we've had the opportunity to deliver some of the decade's biggest experiences to gamers, and we loved it. Today, we're thrilled to announce a partnership with Sony Interactive Entertainment for our new original multiplayer game. For our team, the opportunity to create new worlds and inspire more amazing moments for players around the world is the fire and ambition that keeps us going. The PlayStation team has a deep love and respect for the medium of games and some of the best expertise and capabilities in the world to help make big ambitions a reality. We're already hard at work on development and have been having a ton of fun playing our game as a team. In fact, while we continued to grow our team during this challenging last year, it was our daily online play test that provided the most consistent point of joy and connection for our crew. The fun and laughter of playing together brought us closer, even if we were physically apart. Our goal is to be able to deliver the same joy to gamers, and we can't wait to share what we've been working on when the time is right. We're very fortunate to love what we do, making games. There's more game making in front of us, but in the meantime, we'll keep playing the incredible games this industry creates and generating a few more sparks of our own. See you out there. So, um, that is that is I've never heard of Probably Monsters, so I don't know what that is or who that collective is. But I'll tell you right now that that is incredibly exciting when you find that the people that have worked on games like Call of Duty, people that have worked on games like Apex, I mean Destiny, and I mean that those three games right there, Call of Duty, Apex, Destiny, and then you throw in stuff like Mass Effect and shit too. Um, we're talking about massive, massive games, very popular, successful online first person shooters. I cannot fucking wait to see what these guys have been working on, what they're creating. Um, this is like when I heard the names and the games that these people have been working on. Like everybody always talks about, oh, PlayStation was trying to bring out Killzone, and that was supposed to be the Halo killer, and then Resistance was supposed to be the Halo killer, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm not even gonna say because I haven't seen anything about this game that this game is gonna be the Halo killer. I think partially Halo is gonna kind of kill itself a little bit because I don't have that much faith in the people making the game. They did a poor job, and some of the games that they've made previously in the Halo universe, and um, the way that this development cycle's going and everything. I don't know that this next Halo is going to be what they ultimately want it to be, which is the last Halo they ever have to make. And I don't think that's going to be the case at all. Um, or maybe it is because it fails so bad. I don't know. But I don't know, for some reason I feel like this that team has a lot of experience in the right games to make something really special. So it sucks that there's no gameplay footage that they could show or anything, and you know what, whatever, I don't care. Like 2018, so they've been making this game for 2 years at least. um, and So we'll see. I'm sure, considering that they've only been together since 2018, that and I don't know if that was like early or late 2018, so they might literally only be like 2 years and a few months old, or they might be like over 3 years old. So, but regardless, they have something they're playing, which is nice. That's a start. That means that they have a playable something. Um, so, uh, you know, I can't imagine. I wonder if what they're working on is going to be for both last gen and current. I really wonder. Um, and that goes back to the development and the way that these guys develop these games. Are they gonna go the Resident Evil route, which I think is the right route, where you make it for current gen and then you know um, down chill it a bit and make it so that way it will play on the other stuff. I but I don't know. I don't know. There's nothing. There's no gameplay. There's no nothing. There's not even a game name. So we'll see. But that's incredibly exciting. I am pretty damn excited for that. Let's see. We talked about Ratchet. Anything other big? Um, Sony insists. Okay, there's that. Yeah, there's two things. And that is about it. Yeah, Raven's been hiring like crazy. Yeah, yeah, okay. Two more things. More PlayStation Future shit. And this is about Herman Holst, actually. He's the former lead guy at Gorilla, I think. I think he was the former lead, like head guy at Gorilla, and then he got uh, he got promoted recently, and he's like kind of like the head of. I think he's like the second dude under Jim Ryan, and Jim Ryan's more the suit, and this guy is more like the actual in control of shit and stuff. But it says PlayStation's game boss has said the platform holder is committed to releasing more experimental games in addition to continuing the blockbuster single player releases it's known for. This has been something that has been in a conversation. We've been a little concerned because that's all that, like, it seemed like Sony was very risk averse and they weren't going to bring these cool, quirky games the way that they closed Japan Studio, who was very uh, instrumental in bringing a lot of those quirky, different games, like Parappa the Rapper. I mean, I know that's old, but it's a classic, and it's something that never would have came about had it not been for that studio, and now it was gone. So there was questions there as to whether do they really care about indie stuff as much, and a lot of people or indie developers have said that they weren't as supportive as they used to be, and so there was questions. There was definitely questions, and now they feel like they have to answer because it hasn't really looked all that great. So let's see what he says here. The platform holder, which according to reports is increasingly focused. When they say the platform holder, they're talking about Sony. So it says the platform holder, which according to reports is increasingly focusing on big blockbuster games, made a surprising announcement this week by signing up for an original multiplayer project from Firewalk, a new studio founded by Bungie veterans. Not just Bungie veterans, as I just previously said, though. PlayStation has spent most of the past console generation focusing on story-driven single-player games like God of War, Horizon, Ghosts, and Last of Us, but PlayStation Studios boss Herman Hulst told GI.biz its latest single signing showed it was too committed. It was committed to coming up with new ideas too, which just using that alone, like I don't know, like a blockbuster first-person shooter doesn't seem like a new idea. Um, I don't know. I mean, um, I mean, he himself worked on Killzone, so this certainly isn't a new idea for PlayStation to have a multiplayer shooter. I don't know. Maybe he's talking about because it's supposed to be more multiplayer centric. I guess I don't know. But this is what he says. I think that the games that we make are as distinct and diverse as they can be, Hulse said, which is odd because every one of them is a third-person action adventure. So about that. Um, which don't get me wrong, they're all fucking amazing, great games, but they are not as diverse as they can be. And mostly in content, sure, there's a decent amount of diversity, but as far as the game type, no, there's really not. Anyway, Hulse said, from Sackboy to Astrobot to Dreams, uh, to these kind of games that you're referring to, like The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. And you can bet that we will carry on making these games because they are at the heart and soul of what we do here at PlayStation Studios. But at the same time, we are just as committed to making these quality experiences as we are to experimentation and coming up with fresh ideas. Although multiplayer focused game is a departure for Sony, Hulse said, his drive is for more distinct and diverse games. He said his drive for more distinct and diverse games wasn't all about finding different genres, which I think might be a good idea to kind of consider. Maybe we should do a little bit of, because like part of the reason I think why Halo is so successful is because that's what like Microsoft does. They do that sort of thing, and like part of the reason why Sony hasn't came with a shooter that will compete is because that's not what they do. So, um, it, you know, I think that they should maybe worry about certain genres, especially when they are as popular as a first-person shooter. Like that is, I think that's probably the most played genre, other than the third-person adventure. Like I don't think racing is really, uh, top of the food chain type stuff. Um, it's mainly first-person multiplayer shooter and third-person story. So I think that being in one of the biggest ones, like first person shooter, is kind of important. I kind of think that it is a little bit more important and should be part of his drive. Anyway, he says, I am very interested in creating a diverse slate of titles. Actually, the shape or form that they come in are less interesting to me than the fact that they are differentiated, diverse and distinctive, the executive said. We tend to work with teams that do have something in common, which is that ambition that the Firewalk team has, but also the fact that Firewalk is a very strong, autonomous, and I would say fiercely daring team culturally. That's a really good match. So I seek those factors before I go into narrowing down to genres or gameplay modes. It is more about the experience being differentiated and unique. I can understand that, but still, I think there are I don't want to put it in a negative and say there are leaks or holes, if you will, but there are places in the PlayStation first party lineup that have been neglected and that could use a little attention. And I think that while it is great that you're focused on creating diversive and exciting experiences, I think that you should also understand that diversity also does mean in the form, as you put it, the game comes in. So anyway, it says in a separate interview published earlier this month, CEO claimed Jim Ryan claimed be home to more games than ever, as we said previously. Um, Yeah, this just goes on to say that they've been talking about quietly investing, blah blah blah, which we've already been over. Okay, yeah, good talk. And then finally, I will get to this really quickly, just because I just saw it and I love Metal Gear. So, Solid Snake's voice actor, which would be, I hope this is David Hayter. You know, I really gotta figure out why this thing just turns off whenever the fuck it wants to. Yeah, it is. It is from David Hayter. Let me see. Yeah, the voice of Solid Snake, David Hayter, has suggested that a Metal Gear Solid remake could be in development for current gen consoles. The claim was made during a lengthy discussion with YouTuber Dan Allen, in which the voice actor said he'd been told that a new version of the Hideo Kojima classic could be in the works. I thought, quote, I thought it was just a rumor until the day before yesterday when I got a text from one of the insiders saying they heard it might really be happening, he said. I only had some confirmation that it might not be a rumor a couple of days ago, and even that was still a rumor. But now it's an industry rumor, so that tends to be a little more accurate. Hayter added that if publisher Konami were to remake MGS, they would likely need to re-record Snake's voice due to the age of the original recordings, adding that he still thinks he can pull off the young Snake voice. Excuse me. He says they can't use the original PlayStation recordings because the sound card isn't anywhere near as good as today's consoles. So what happens is you run these old tapes and you can hear traffic going by outside and all this room noise because we didn't do it in a studio. We did it in some living room. That's kind of crazy. We did re-record the entire game for the GameCube remake, the Twin Snakes, so they could theoretically use those recordings. But again, I don't think the quality would match what needs to be done. VGC first reported Konami softening its stance over licensing its game properties earlier this year in a report revealing that the company has outsourced a new Silent Hill game. Konami's Japanese bosses are understood to have historically pushed back against most pitches to outsource their key game brands, which is a big reason why previous pitches for Silent Hill games, such as one by Until Dawn Studio Supermassive, weren't greenlit. However, following the disappointing performance of recent in-house titles such as Metal Gear Survive, and Contra Rogue Corps, VGC sources said that the company has become more willing to contract outside studios for its major franchises. In addition to Silent Hill, we were told that Konami has plans to work on Castlevania and Metal Gear Solid games via external companies, but any potential releases are still years away. Konami recently confirmed it would participate in the all-digital E3 2021 set to take place in June. Star Wars and Dune actor Oscar Isaac will reportedly play Solid Snake in the planned Metal Gear Solid movie. Um, I don't know where that last tidbit came from. I guess they're just trying to throw some extra shit in there. Um, maybe he'll be the voice actor for Solid Snake going forward. I guess I don't know. Personally, I was really disappointed when they got rid of Hayter and they fucking started using Kiefer Sutherland. Garbage. Um, not good. Was not happy. Still not happy about it. So anyway, um, yeah, that's interesting. And that's the news. That's what I got for you today. Um, I probably should have did it probably like Saturday. Um, because all that most of that news broke like Thursday or Friday, I think. So, um, but yeah, there you go. There's some stuff. There's some recent news stuff that came out that wasn't as noteworthy personally to me, or I don't think as noteworthy as a lot of what I went over. So, but again, a lot of what I see is from from websites that you guys can look up too. So I just try to consolidate a lot of the good, important shit, the juicy shit, give a little bit of opinion, and set you on your way. So anyway, that was the show. Thank you for watching. Uh, Appreciate it. Give me a like and subscribe if you made it this far. And if you didn't, I can't say that I blame you. But anyway, yeah, peace until next time.